like a badger, maybe a fox.
More likely a Harfoot.
Harfoot?
Harfoots. They are a race of short nomadic characters that evoke the Lord of the Rings nostalgia. In the Rings of Power, Harfoots are precursors to Hobbits, the unassuming heroes we all love. And on paper, it would seem that at least this element of Amazon's big budget series was safe from criticism. Why would a group of these homely people cause any controversy? And yet, even the Harfoots could not escape the internet's pylon. And what's the issue? Their accents.
You harm a hair on her foot, and I'll brain the lot of you.
So the controversy is about giving Harfoots a distinctive Irish accent.
Harfoots are a more primitive form of hobbits. They live in the wild, they eat berries, they have dirt and leaves in their hair.
What's wrong with being Irish, you ask? Well, the criticism is that because Harfoots are essentially undeveloped hobbits, a simpler version of the characters we know from Lord of the Rings, the accent reinforces the stereotype that Irish people are less cultured from their British or American counterparts. Now, the producers said that that wasn't the point, right? They wanted to make them familiar but different from hobbits and also show the warm community feel. That's not how the audience saw it, though. This is especially true when we compare them to Stoors from Season 2, who are a bit more settled as a community and have more of a West Country accent.
Nobody's that stupid. They just needed a place to hide. What, with half the devils in the desert searching for him?
Similar to Samwise Gamgee from the Shire, as I discussed in another video.
It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered.
And let's not forget that Gollum was a Stoor originally named Smeagol.
Oh! Smeagol! I've got one! I've got a fish, me! Smeagol! Go on!
However, I don't hear any particular dialect from this scene between him and Deagle in the trilogy. Some people tried to figure that out too. But going back to Harfoots, the Irish accent is a new thing they added to the Rings of Power series. Tolkien mentioned these early Hobbit tribes and, he saw himself in the race. He said, and I quote, "I am in fact a hobbit in all but size. I like gardens, trees and unmechanized farmlands. I smoke a pipe and like good plain food unrefrigerated, but detest French cooking. I like and even dare to wear in these dull days ornamental waistcoats. I'm fond of mushrooms out of a field, have a very simple sense of humor, which even my appreciative critics find tiresome, and go to bed late and get up late when possible. I do not travel." Now the last part, I do not travel, is very important. Hobbits stay put.
I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
An adventure? No, I don't imagine anyone west of Bree would have much interest in adventures.
But Harfoots are a nomadic group.
Come on now, Grove's not gonna migrate to us. Might help us move faster if you sang us your mom's walking song.
Hey, go on, Pops, give us a warble.
So part of the controversy is using Irish to describe a migrating people, even though the actors say it was, more about that community feel with a Celtic-rooted dialect.
Because being a Harfoot is new. Nobody knows what a Harfoot is, how they talk. So we had to learn all these new skills, movement, dialect, the way we looked.
Travellers, at this time of year.
It's an omen, I warrant you. Back one, as bad as they come.
Easy, Malva.
And because of that, the response was so mixed. Now, some said it was just a failed attempt at giving the Harfoots a unique dialect, this sort of Irish-like sounding language that portrays people running around with sticks, twigs in their hair, eating berries and superstitious, kind of stupid. And even though there were positives to them, being fun and tight family-oriented group, these were lost in translation. What annoyed the audience is that the production team didn't think of the possible issues that they played into the widely recognizable stereotypes of Irish immigrants. You know, people with rural and working class history. Hardworking, resilient, practical, with strong family bonds, and this sort of portrayal of a common folk, you know, especially in comparison to elves with their RP accents. This is not necessarily malicious, but at the same time still plays into the stereotypes we discussed earlier.
For though Morgoth fell an age ago, some feared a new evil might arise from his shadow.
Not to mention, Harfoots are short, just like Leprechaun, a small character from Irish folklore that guides others to treasure. Although personally I think that criticism is like too much of a stretch.
Is that me gold?
What the hell are you?
I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Now, I think people are too easily offended these days. I do. Or rather, some will go out of their way to find something offensive, especially on the internet. But if you are making $1 billion series based on one of the most loved stories in the history of fantasy, you should expect that people will take it apart. I don't think that using Irish accents for Harfoots had any malicious intent, but I also think that they didn't think of how it could be perceived and spinned negatively. And that's on the producers. They should have expected that. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.
Stupid fat Hobbit! It ruins it!